Hello, I'm Maya. I see this looks a little bit different than most of the other projects that are going to come up and all the modules that have. My personal project was on Aboriginal art. I've always loved the look of Aboriginal art, and I love art. However, it is hard to figure out the line between loving Aboriginal art and doing it yourself, because Aboriginal art is a very cultural thing, and it's being lost because people who are non-Aboriginal are creating Aboriginal art. So let's first start to see how I got to here. My driving question was, how can I showcase my understanding of Aboriginal culture through my own Aboriginal-inspired art piece? Over the time of the project, I reached out to many museums, artists, organizations, and communities. At the time of writing this, and now, none of them have responded or had any insight on my project. However, it is important to recognize the two following. Number one, this art is not mine. This is the work of the Aborigines and their culture. Number two, no benefits or money will come from this piece of art and is only used to educate myself about this beautiful art and culture. This art belongs to all of these people and all people who identify with the Aboriginal title and have Aboriginal communities. Planning and layout. First, I went to the Loom and some other experiences around Cairns and in Melbourne to figure out how Aboriginal people create their art and how they speak about their art. 3 steps that I took to get to, here. Number 1, story. So the 3 main questions I had to ask myself during the whole storyboard part of the project was, what do I know? What is the story I want to tell? And what are the most important aspects of the story to me? I needed to find a story that was right for me, and my story was my family. The family that I have, the family that I've come from, and the family that I will continue to grow into. This is the story that I wanted to tell because this is what I know to myself and to what I've grown up with. The most important aspects of this story to me were this time-passing sort of aspect, which is what I tried to incorporate during my project. Step 2, symbols. Aboriginal people use a lot of symbols in their paintings and their art, mainly to show maps of dream times or real places. So I had to figure out symbols that I wanted to use in my art and figure out how I wanted to use them. So these are some of the symbols that I decided to use. Number 3, outlines and drafts. First, I had to come up with many outlines of how I wanted to represent my family and how I wanted to show the color, but also the hardness of the project. I then went to 2 of my family members, this is my brother and my mother, and I talked to both of them to see if I could get every aspect of the story correct and true to its history and to what it's going to become. My final product. I first had to buy the paints and then start painting, and here on the side is what it looks like without the outline on it. I decided to add an outline, even though most Aboriginal paintings don't have colored marker outlines. I decided to add one to add to the boldness of my project and to my family. This is the final piece that it was before I cut it up. It has all these connection lines of, this is the 2nd generation of my parents and my uncles and aunts. This is the 3rd generation, the 1st generation, that is my grandparent. And then this is my brother to show this generation, to show each length of how long we've been alive and where our history has taken us. This is my ancestry line to show where we've come from. This meeting place is to show where we are now. In the sky, we have both the sun and the moon to represent time passing. And in here we have 2 stars because in Aboriginal culture, they believe that people who have passed become stars and watch over us. So this is my late grandmother and my late grandmother, my great grandmother, who I never met but was a big influence of how my mother taught me. And here in the middle, you can't really see it there, it's a shooting star that is to represent me looking over my entire family. And while this piece is truly me and my family, it does not deserve to be called Aboriginal art or have the same style as Aboriginal art because I am not an Aboriginal artist. And that means that all Aboriginal art that is not created by Aboriginal artists should not exist because it is not Aboriginal art. However, it is taking the place of true Aboriginal art, weakening the culture of Aboriginal art and where it has come from. So in a statement towards that, I have ripped up my piece into two here, as you can see, destroying it symbolically, as you can say, to recognize and understand that this art should not exist because it is not Aboriginal art, and it is inspired by it, and therefore should not exist. Thank you so much. Not wrong way.